You're bleeding out in a room full of people who are watching you drown. You're pouring your soul into a microphone, begging them to understand your vision, begging them to see your worth, begging them to just give you a chance. And what do? They nod. They smile. And then they walk away. You think if you just explain it one more time, if you just break it down a little clearer, they'll finally get it. But they already get it. They just don't care. So let me tell you something. The moment you start chasing, you've already lost. The moment you start begging, you've surrendered your power. The moment you start explaining, you've admitted defeat. Never chase, never beg, never explain. Your silence becomes your superpower. Think about that. We live in a world that tells you to speak up, to network, to pitch, to sell yourself. But nobody tells you about the hidden tax of overgiving. Nobody talks about the emotional bankruptcy that comes from constantly trying to prove your value to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. I remember the darkest moment of my early career. I had this vision, this massive world-changing goal, but I was surrounded by people who operated in a scarcity mindset. Every time I pitched my idea, I felt this tightness in my chest. I'd stay up until 3 a.m. rehearsing my arguments in the shower, trying to find the perfect combination of words to make them believe. I was bleeding my energy dry. I was sacrificing my peace for their validation. Here's what most people don't understand. Explaining is a trauma response. When you over-explain, you are subconsciously signaling that you don't trust your own authority. You're handing the judge's gavel to someone who doesn't even have a law degree. You see, when you chase a person, a deal, or an opportunity, you instantly lower your market value. Scarcity breeds desperation, and desperation is the ultimate repellent. The struggle you feel when you're trying to convince someone isn't a sign of passion. It's a sign of misalignment. Not only that, but this habit of chasing rewires your brain for failure. Every time you send that long paragraphs, thick text trying to clarify your intentions, every time you stay late at the office to prove you're a team player to a boss who will never promote you, you are training your nervous system to accept crumbs. You are telling your subconscious mind that your time, your energy, and your purpose are cheap. But here's the thing. Time is the only non-renewable resource you have. Every minute you spend defending your reality to someone who is committed to their own illusion is a minute you are stealing from your own future. Think about your deathbed. When you're taking your final breaths, are you going to wish you spent more time explaining yourself to your critics? Are you going to regret not chasing people who didn't want to be caught? No. You're going to regret the work you didn't do. You're going to regret the empire you didn't build because you were too busy trying to get permission to start. The cost of chasing isn't just emotional, it's existential. It robs you of your identity. You stop becoming the architect of your life, and you become a beggar at the gates of other people's opinions. You have to stand your ground. You have to realize that your faith in your own vision must be stronger than their doubt. If you have to convince them, they aren't your people. If you have to beg for the seat, it isn't your table. Let them walk away. Let them misunderstand you. Let them talk about you. Their noise is just a soundtrack to your isolation, and isolation is where the real work gets done. Now let's talk about the pivot. Let's talk about how you take all that wasted energy and weaponize it. This is where we transition from a victim of your own empathy to a master of your own destiny. Strategic silence is not about being passive. It's not about being weak. It's about calibration. It's about control. Let me tell you a story. There was a young builder named Elias. Elias had incredible talent, but he had a fatal flaw. He needed everyone to clap while he worked. If a project failed, he'd write a 10-page email explaining the market conditions. If a partner disagreed with him, he'd schedule a 3-hour meeting to defend his logic. He was exhausted. He was burning out. One day, he sat down with an old Stoic mentor who had built 3 massive companies and sold them for hundreds of millions. Elias started explaining why his latest venture was struggling. He talked for 20 minutes straight. The old man just looked at him, took a slow sip of his coffee and said, "Elias, you're talking so much I can't hear what you're actually doing." That hit Elias like a freight train. The old man then laid down 3 brutal, non-negotiable rules of strategic silence. Rule number 1, the power of the pause. When someone challenges you, when someone doubts you, when the world throws chaos at your feet, your instinct is to react immediately. Don't. The pause is your fortress. In that gap between stimulus and response lies your ultimate freedom. When you pause, you deny them the emotional reaction they are fishing for. You force them to sit in the discomfort of their own words. You reclaim the frame. Rule number 2, the economy of words. Speak only to build, never to defend. Every word you speak should have a purpose. If it doesn't advance your goal, if it doesn't serve your vision, swallow it. People respect those who speak less because they assume those who speak less have more to hide or more to say. By withholding your words, you create an aura of mystery and authority. Let your results do the screaming. Rule number 3, the fortress of focus. This is where the magic happens. You take all the energy you used to spend arguing, explaining, and chasing, and you pour it into deep, unbothered execution. You build a fortress around your attention. You don't ring the bell. You don't engage in the petty dramas. You just work. Elias took these rules and went back to his business. The next time a partner tried to undermine him in a meeting, Elias didn't defend himself. He didn't explain. He just looked at him, paused for 3 full seconds, and said, "Noted, let's look at the numbers." The room shifted. The partner stammered. Elias had taken back the power. Listen, implementing these rules is easy for a day. Doing it for a lifetime requires a complete identity transformation. This isn't about fixing your habits. This is about becoming a new person. It's about the discipline of unbothered execution. You see, consistency is the ultimate flex. While everyone else is reacting to the daily news cycle, getting offended on the internet, and chasing the next shiny object, you are in the trenches. You are working hard in the dark. This is the marathon. As the great Nipsey Hussle said, the marathon continues. It's not a sprint. It's a relentless daily commitment to your purpose, regardless of how you feel, regardless of who is watching, and regardless of who is doubting you. When you embrace strategic silence, you unlock a level of deep work that most people will never experience. You stop leaking energy. You become a closed system of production. Your discipline compounds. Day after day, brick after brick, you are building an empire that no one can tear down, because no one even knew you were building it until the roof was already on. But here's the thing. The world will try to pull you out of your fortress. They will call you arrogant. They will say you've changed. They will try to provoke you just to see if they still have access to your emotions. Let them. Their projections are not your reality. You have to be brave enough to be misunderstood. You have to have the courage to walk alone, because the path to changing the world is not a crowded highway. It's a lonely dirt road. Not only that, but this unbothered execution requires you to treat your work ethic as a sacred sacrifice. You are sacrificing your short-term comfort for your long-term legacy. You are failing forward. Every time you get knocked down, you don't complain. You don't explain why it wasn't your fault. You just get back up. You take risks, you fall forward, you keep going. Think about the compounding power of this. If you just stay silent and execute for 5 years, while your competitors are busy talking, networking, and explaining, you will lap them. You will achieve the impossible turn possible. You will reach a level of success that they will try to rationalize by saying you got lucky, but you'll know the truth. You'll know it was the sacrifice. You'll know it was the quiet, brutal, unrelenting consistency. You have to believe in your own grind when no one else does. You have to have faith in the process. Gratitude for the struggle is what keeps you grounded. When you are grateful for the obstacles, they stop being burdens and start becoming stepping stones. You stand your ground. You earn it. You claim it. You dream big, but you execute in the microscopic details. That's the difference between those who talk about it and those who are about it. Now, let's bring it all home. I'll say it again. Look at your life right now. Look at the areas where you are stagnant. Where are you chasing? Where are you begging? Where are you over-explaining? Find the leak. Plug it. Remember this. You're on a clock. Every single second that ticks by is a second you never get back. The mortality reminder isn't here to depress you. It's here to wake you up. You are going to die. The people who doubt you are going to die. The people you are trying to impress are going to die. So why are you living for them? Why are you shrinking yourself to fit into their small, limited reality? This is your finest hour. This is the moment you draw a line in the sand. You decide right now that you are done seeking external validation. You decide that your self-respect is non-negotiable. You decide that your silence is your shield and your execution is your sword. When the doubt creeps in, when the darkest moment tries to swallow you, you don't ring the bell. You don't quit. You don't reach for the phone to seek comfort. You put your head down. You embrace the quiet. You let the silence do the heavy lifting. You let your results introduce you. You let your success make the noise. Never give up on your vision, but never compromise your peace to achieve it. Keep going. Fall forward. Stand your ground. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more builders. It needs more leaders who can sit in the fire and not say a word. It needs you at your absolute best, completely unbothered, completely focused, completely unstoppable. Your silence becomes your power. I'll say it again. Your silence becomes your power. So as you step out into the world today, as you face the critics, the doubters, and the distractions, I want you to remember this one final command. Don't give them your words. Give them your results. Close your mouth, open your hands, build in the quiet.